The world often misunderstands people who carry the weight of silent struggles. They see the calm on the surface but have no idea of the storms you have endured. They see your composure but not the nights you were breaking inside. They see your strength, but not the pain that shaped it. This is why depending on external validation is useless. The world cannot witness the process, only the result. And it is the process, unseen, uncelebrated, that defines you. After confronting your darkness, solitude becomes less of a burden and more of a forge. You begin to realize that suffering in silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of evolution. Each moment you choose to continue, despite the inner turmoil, adds another layer of strength to your spirit. You may feel broken at times, but every time you rise, you rebuild yourself stronger than before. No applause can create that. No audience can accelerate it. Strength developed in solitude is strength that cannot be taken away. So embrace those unseen moments. Do not underestimate their power. When the world is silent, when you feel alone, when you face the weight of your own thoughts, that is where the strongest version of yourself is being created. One day, others may see your strength and wonder where it came from. But you will know. It was forged in the quiet, in the shadows, in the depths of solitude where you learn to rise without an audience. This quiet transformation also teaches humility. When you build yourself alone, you don't become arrogant. You do not stand tall to be admired. Instead, you stand tall because you learned how to rise on your own. You learn to carry your strength quietly, without the need to declare it. You understand that real power does not shout. It simply exists, steady and unshakable. The greatest gifts come from the moments when you think no one notices your effort, because those are the moments meant for you, not for the world. Your internal battles shape your spirit, your discipline, your resilience, and your resolve. They turn your weaknesses into weapons and your fears into wisdom. They carve out a version of you that can no longer be easily broken. The real transformation occurs during the nights you couldn't sleep because your mind was at war with itself. It happens during the mornings you didn't want to rise but forced yourself to stand. It grows in the moments where you push forward despite the exhaustion nobody else can see. Silent battles refine you in a way external challenges never can. When you stand alone, there is no validation to lean on, no comfort to distract you, no audience to impress. Your choices become undeniable reflections of your character. You learn discipline because no one is reminding you. You learn resilience because no one is protecting you. You learn accountability because there is no one left to blame. This is where true strength is forged, in the purity of solitude, where only truth remains. The path of growth is not illuminated by comfort. It is forged in the heart of internal struggle. When you walk into your own darkness willingly, you begin to see what truly needs to be healed, strengthened, or released. This clarity becomes a weapon, a shield, and a guide. It frees you from the illusions you once believed about yourself. So do not run. Do not hide. Your shadows are not proof of weakness. They are proof that you are human. What defines you is not the darkness itself, but your willingness to confront it. When you accept this, the chains break, the fear dissolves, and you step into a version of yourself that was waiting all along, stronger, wiser, and unshaken by the storms within. Once you confront your darkness, you come to understand something many people never realize. The greatest battles of your life are the ones fought in silence, away from the eyes of the world. True strength does not emerge under applause, nor is it built in the presence of admiration. It grows in the quiet moments when you are alone with your thoughts, your fears, and the weight of your decisions. Solitude is where you meet the real version of yourself. The one stripped of masks, the one no audience can influence, the one who cannot hide behind excuses. After facing your inner shadows, you begin to notice how deeply transformation depends on what happens when no one is watching. People often believe strength is shown through grand actions or visible achievements. But those moments are merely the outcome of something much deeper. When you acknowledge your flaws without judgment, you gain the power to change them. When you confront your fears, you take away their ability to control your decisions. When you sit with your pain instead of fleeing from it, you uncover the strength to rise above it. This is why confronting your darkness is essential. Without doing so, you cannot fully understand yourself, and without understanding yourself, you cannot grow beyond the limits of who you were. Everything you avoid becomes a chain around your spirit. Everything you face becomes a door to freedom. The world outside may never recognize your battles, just as it may never fully understand your suffering. But the inner battle is not meant to be witnessed by others. It is meant to be experienced by you. It is the silent test that separates those who merely survive from those who evolve. When you finally decide to turn toward your darkness instead of running from it, something unexpected happens. The fear begins to lose its power. You realize that the monster you imagined was far larger in your mind than it is in reality. Darkness is not there to consume you. It is there to reveal the parts of yourself that need healing, discipline, or acceptance. Every unresolved emotion you carry, anger, regret, shame, grief, remains unresolved because you refuse to sit with it. The moment you do, it begins to transform. This confrontation is not easy. It will challenge you in ways that external battles never could. Facing your own mind is the greatest war you will ever fight. The enemy knows your vulnerabilities. It knows your weaknesses. It knows how to break you. But it is also an enemy that can become your greatest ally once you learn to understand it. The darkness inside you contains truth. Raw, painful truth. But truth nonetheless. And truth is the foundation of liberation. The moment you begin to understand yourself, you uncover something even more difficult to face. The darkness you've been carrying. Pain may teach you. Self-understanding may ground you. But true transformation begins only when you confront the parts of yourself you've avoided for years. The fears you hid behind excuses, the guilt you tried to bury, the memories you pretended were gone. These shadows do not disappear just because you refuse to look at them. In fact, the more you avoid them, the stronger they become. People often believe that ignoring their inner turmoil will make life easier. They distract themselves. They hide behind smiles. They drown their thoughts in noise. But avoidance is nothing more than a temporary shelter built on unstable ground. Your darkness waits patiently. It grows in silence. It feeds on denial. And eventually, it finds a way to confront you when you are least prepared. This is why self-understanding cannot exist without the courage to face your shadows. You cannot claim clarity while hiding from the truth inside you. The moment you begin to understand yourself, you uncover something even more difficult to face. The darkness you've been carrying. Pain may teach you. Self-understanding may ground you. But true transformation begins only when you confront the parts of yourself you've avoided for years. The fears you hid behind excuses, the guilt you tried to bury, the memories you pretended were gone. These shadows do not disappear just because you refuse to look at them. In fact, the more you avoid them, the stronger they become. People often believe that ignoring their inner turmoil will make life easier. They distract themselves. They hide behind smiles. They drown their thoughts in noise. But avoidance is nothing more than a temporary shelter built on unstable ground. Your darkness waits patiently. It grows in silence. It feeds on denial. And eventually, it finds a way to confront you when you are least prepared. This is why self-understanding cannot exist without the courage to face your shadows. You cannot claim clarity while hiding from the truth inside you. So as pain guides you into deeper self-awareness, let that awareness become the source of your strength. Trust your inner understanding more than the shifting voices around you. In a world filled with noise, clarity comes not from being seen by others, but from finally seeing yourself. There will always be people who misunderstand your intentions, criticize your decisions, or fail to see the struggles that shaped you. Their opinions are not reflections of your value. They are reflections of their own limitations. When you accept this, a great burden lifts from your shoulders. You do not need the world to validate your journey. You only need the courage to look inward and see yourself clearly. Those who understand themselves walk with a calm determination. They move with purpose, not for applause, but because they know the direction of their own path. They are unmoved by judgment because their foundation is built on truth, not approval. Self-understanding is not about perfection. It is about awareness. When you know your weaknesses, you gain control over them. When you know your strengths, you learn how to use them. When you understand your inner motives, you stop being a prisoner to impulsive decisions. It becomes far easier to grow, because you are no longer fighting a battle against an unknown enemy within yourself. Most importantly, self-understanding brings freedom. Freedom from expectation. Freedom from judgment. Freedom from the weight of trying to satisfy people who do not walk your path. Once you stop measuring your worth through the eyes of others, you begin to live according to your own truth. This is where the lessons of pain turn into wisdom. Pain teaches you what life is. Self-understanding teaches you who you are within that life. In the silence where pain first taught you to look inward, you must now continue your journey by choosing self-awareness. It is only when you face your own thoughts honestly, without excuses, without masks, without fear, that true growth begins. Many people avoid this step because it is far easier to seek approval than to confront the truth of who they are. But approval from the outside is temporary, fragile, and inconsistent. Understanding from within is permanent. When you learn to understand yourself, you stop craving recognition. You no longer need the world to acknowledge your suffering, because you have already confronted it directly. You have looked at your own flaws and accepted them. You have seen your strengths and embraced them. You have acknowledged your fears and chosen to rise above them. This form of clarity does not require applause. It creates a quiet confidence that no one can take from you. The path that begins with understanding pain naturally leads to a deeper and more difficult truth. You must learn to understand yourself. Pain may guide you, may open your eyes, may strip away illusions, but it is self-understanding that gives all that suffering meaning. Without insight into who you truly are, the lessons of pain fade into confusion. You begin to believe that the world must acknowledge your struggle for it to matter, that others must validate your existence for you to feel real. But that is another illusion, one that traps countless people in cycles of comparison and disappointment. The world is not obligated to understand you. It may see your actions, it may judge your choices, but it will never fully comprehend your inner battles. People look through the lens of their own fears, their own beliefs, their own limited experiences. Expecting them to grasp the depth of your struggle is asking for a kind of clarity they do not possess. When you depend on others to define your worth, you surrender control of your life to opinions that shift like shadows. Think of pain as the mentor you never asked for, but desperately needed. It does not speak gently. It does not praise you. It does not comfort you. Instead, it challenges you, breaks down your weaknesses, and rebuilds you into someone stronger. Its lessons are difficult, but they are the most honest lessons you will ever receive. If you are suffering right now, do not assume that life is punishing you. Instead, ask yourself what this moment is trying to teach you. Ask what truth is being revealed. Ask which part of you needs to evolve. You may not see it now, but every scar you carry holds a lesson that will guide you forward. When you learn from your pain instead of running from it, you rise above it. And in that rise, you discover the strength that has always been quietly waiting inside you, hidden in the shadows, waiting for you to see it. There were moments in my own journey where pain felt like an endless storm, one that threatened to break me completely. But in those darkest hours, I found something more valuable than peace. I found purpose. When the world falls apart around you, you begin to understand what truly matters. You uncover the strength to keep moving, even when every part of you wants to collapse. That strength does not appear in comfort. It is born from surviving your own battles. Those who embrace pain with awareness become powerful, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand it. They learn that every hardship carries a message. Every wound carries wisdom. Every tear opens a door to a deeper version of yourself. When you accept this, pain becomes less of an enemy and more of a guide. Most people run from their suffering. They drown it with distractions, hide it behind a mask, or pretend it does not exist. But ignoring pain only allows it to grow in the shadows. The more you run, the stronger your fear becomes. But if you stop, turn around, and look directly at your suffering, you will begin to understand it. When you understand it, it loses its power to control you. Pain is a teacher because it forces you to evolve. It teaches discipline when life feels chaotic. It teaches patience when everything seems hopeless. It teaches clarity when confusion consumes the mind. Without hardship, you would never develop resilience. Without loss, you would never learn appreciation. Without struggle, you would never discover your limit or surpass it. Pain is often seen as something to escape, something to fear, something that marks a person as unlucky or weak. But this belief is born from misunderstanding. Pain was never created to destroy you. It exists to reveal the truth you were never willing to face when life was comfortable. When everything is easy, the mind becomes careless, blind to its own flaws, unaware of its hidden potential. But when hardship comes, when suffering grips your heart, you are forced to confront parts of yourself you never knew existed. This confrontation is not punishment. It is instruction. In my life, I learned that pain sharpens the senses. It strips away illusions and leaves only reality. You begin to see who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. When you feel the weight of suffering pressing down on you, understand that it is trying to show you something. A path you ignored, a truth you avoided, or a strength you have not yet awakened. Trouble does not arrive without meaning. Even if it feels unbearable, it is guiding you toward transformation.